Again, so today is the study. So we always need to remember I am one of the fortunate person still able to breathe in and out. Particularly, I am one of the most fortunate person to able to study emptiness. What Lama Tsongkhapa says in his treatise, all the teaching taught by Buddha, it means to be realizing emptiness. For example, first time Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths as a foundation. The second time means after many years, then he turned the second will of Dharma, mainly about emptiness. Then the third time, after many years after, the third time he turned the third will of Dharma to precise the meaning of emptiness. Then very, very particularly, he taught the Vajrayana teaching to very much precise about emptiness. Therefore, we must think every day when you have a time, when you open the entering the middle way, we must think, I am the most of the lucky person to able to read the Madhyamaka's text, to able to read the commentary on the Madhyamaka's text, particularly somehow, slowly I can understand the emptiness. Understanding emptiness, the realizing emptiness is the one of the most important realization to cut the root of the samsara. Without realizing emptiness, no matter how long, how many times we, have been practicing bodhicitta, five perfections, great compassion, still we cannot be free from the root of the samsara. We cannot be free from the root of the sufferings, the root of the rest of the negative thoughts. Somehow, we must put effort as much as we can for realizing emptiness. When we really realize understanding and realizing emptiness is very important, then it looks like, our journey start the right thoughts for achieving Buddhahood. Therefore, what Chandrakirti said, so when you hear the teaching on emptiness, you must feel, joyness, happiness, and move your mind through hearing the emptiness. Therefore, every day, when you ask question, what is the important for you to today or tomorrow, you must think, you must reply, that realizing emptiness is the most important for me because I don't want suffering. I want to be free from the origin of suffering, which is ignorance. Then top of the realizing emptiness, then when we practice bodhicitta, then we can have the two wings, can fly to the Buddha land. We can have two wings to overcome, cross the ocean of samsara. The ocean of samsara, the samsara is exactly, similar or look like the ocean. So when we look at far away from the oceans look so beautiful, so nice. So many people wants to, see the ocean. When you reach to closer to the ocean, then we can see there's a lot of scary, kinds of waves. When you really enter in the ocean, then we can see a lot of creatures who can take our life. When you really drown in the ocean, there's no way we can get out from the ocean. The ocean is so big, so deep. So everybody must feel, I'm very lucky to be able to study emptiness. Yes, since, for many years, so we keep thinking about emptiness, but we haven't realized emptiness. We haven't realized emptiness yet. Maybe one reason, we really don't have the proper understanding what does mean emptiness. Second, yes, you have the right understanding of emptiness, but we never put enough effort actual, realizing emptiness. Therefore, this class, kind of repetition, mainly I start the class since His Holiness Dalai Lama, he gave teaching entering into middle way. Then I thought it is very important to teach the root text, which is entering middle way by Chandrakirti, then the commentary by Lama Tsongkhapa. So in order to realize emptiness, we need to depend on, stillness, like a stillness text. One is the best text, is the entering middle way by Chandrakirti, because this text is not so that big as a Mule Madhyamaka Karika. Also, this text is not really concise as a Heart Sutra. Heart Sutra is just only maybe 1.5 pages, but the meaning is so profound. So we're not going to understand emptiness. Then the Mule Madhyamaka Karika, the wisdom, ocean of the wisdom, written by Nagarjuna, is so like a big, 20 plus chapter 20 plus. So it is so, I think too big for you. That's why I choose the intermediate way is the right amount. Not so that big, not so, like concise text. Then among the commentary, I choose the Lama Tsongkhapa's commentary on the intermediate way, because you can see at the beginning, Lama Tsongkhapa always cited the root text. The second, he cited the commentary on the root text by Chandrakirti himself. Then third, so he did his own commentary. So it is so important to study about emptiness. So before we start on a new topic, there's a few lines I will read. You just listen. If you have the textbook, the page number 164. That's first, the third paragraph. The point here is that if one sees this physical science emerge on the basis of two convergent fact, that the person hear the discourse on emptiness and that he understands what is being heard, then such a sign indicate unmistakably that the person is stable vessels. Right? So when you listen the teaching of emptiness, when you have the kind of right understand, when you really understood the emptiness, then you can have the sign. When you listen the teaching about emptiness, somehow you know what does mean emptiness. Suddenly you feel so moved and so joy. That means this is one of the sign. You are a very stable person to study, to listen about the teaching on emptiness. True convergent fact that the person hear the discourse on emptiness, just here, then he understands what is being heard. That such a sign indicate unmistakably that the person is a stable vessels. In contrast, like us, if the person does not understand the meaning, or even he does, if the sign does not arise, one cannot determine for that time being, that he is stable vessels for the profound truth. Even so, if he adhere to the how can I say this one? Decades of his sublime teacher, such as person may in the future become the stable vessels to dispose numerous new potency for realization emptiness. Like us, when we listen to the teaching, first we don't understand the meaning of emptiness. Second, somehow you understand the meaning of emptiness, but you don't have the kind of, the mind, which is really you feel moved. That means what Lama Tsongkhapa is saying, still when you understand, you don't have the sign, don't worry, you just, every day you supplicate to your gurus, you do the supplication to the Tripaljan and accumulate merit. The one day, we can be very stable for studying emptiness, listening to the teaching. So this is very important because many times we try to practice bodhicitta. Yes, at the beginning, you can. Somehow in between, we face a lot of problems. Yes, you have the potential, practicing bodhicitta. You have the potential to realizing emptiness. Somehow you cannot we don't have enough kind of merit. So in order to practice continuously the bodhicitta, in order to continuously study emptiness, in between, then we need all the recitation, chanting, making of mother offering, whatever. Therefore, we need to see the point when we need to do all the recitation, chanting. For example, his Lama Tsongkhapa, himself, he was really trying to understand emptiness. Somehow, he feels there's a lot of, difficulties. He's not going to understand emptiness. Then one day he asked this question to Manjushri, which is his own master, own teacher. Even though Lama Tsongkhapa can meet Manjushri, he can receive teaching from Manjushri, but he had, difficulties to understand emptiness. Then he asked, what should I do for realizing emptiness? Then Manjushri said, you need to do 3 practices together. Once you do purification, purifying, the negative karma, which has become obstacle to realizing emptiness. And also you need to accumulate merit. Having, strong kind of belief, your guru is not separate than the idam. The idam is not separate than the guru. You need to think, you need to believe the guru and idam is oneness. So then you can see that time, then since then, Lama Tsongkhapa did, 100,000 prostration, more than 100,000, more than 100,000 the mandal offering. He did the mandal offering to the guru. He did the prostration to the guru, mainly visualizing the 35 Buddha. So that time when he did the prostration, he did, mandala offering. He didn't have the kind of the mandala made of like brown, made of gold and silver. He just simply used one, stable rock, big piece of rock as a basis of mandala. He used the rock and offered the mandala every day there. Also, he didn't have the prostration matters. He just did the prostration on the rock until the rock became very smooth. Until his arm, until tear the arm, he did the mandala offering. Then one day he realized emptiness. So we need to do recitation, chanting, mandala offering on this point. Also, let's say every day, you're practicing bodhi, you try to cultivate bodhicitta. Somehow you feel very sleepy, you feel so tired, you feel very lazy, you don't want to do practicing bodhicitta. Then you need to realize, now I need to focus on recitation, chanting, prostration, light offering. Immediately, simple, you do simple practice. You just get up from the your question. You offer a light. You offer a candle light. You must offer the light to the Tripal Gem. You offer the light to your guru, just thinking, I'm going to offer this light to my guru, include all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in 10 directions for realizing emptiness. Immediately you then do, like 100,000 or 100 times like recitation, money recitation, whatever. Focus, dedicate for realizing emptiness. Then, after like 20 minutes, you just sit on your cushion and, continues your meditation, cultivation. So all we Buddhists have been doing, serious mistake. We are very much serious about, recitation and chanting. We just sit on the question. We visualize the field of merit. We always do recitation, chanting. But we don't know what's the point we are doing this on a practice, right? Therefore, we must know when we should do and why we have doing all the ritual, chanting, recitation. Therefore, Lama Tsongkhapa said here, the sublime teacher, such as a person may in the future become a stable vessel to deposit numerous new potency for realizing emptiness. Then next, Page number 165. The first line on the page number 164. Teaching emptiness to the vessel, the describe above all not be fruitless. Why? Not only will such a listener not be studied with the injurious consequence or distorted oppression emptiness. For them, the ensuing quality that result from the listening to the view emptiness will come to birth. How do they come about? So when we realize, realizing emptiness is very important. Now, so millions of years, I have been taking rebirth for, millions of time. This is the first time I have the opportunity to know the actual, weapon to cut the root of the samsara. Then you feel it's so important. I don't want to lose this opportunity. So I want to do emptiness, right? Emptiness. But we don't know how many years, it will take to realize emptiness. Then the stable vessel will relate it to the hearing the view of emptiness like finding a treasure. Right? Very like a poor person have been facing all the difficulties, not enough food and clothes. One day, the poor family, the poor person find a treasure, how he or she really feel happiness. So we must feel, I'm very lucky. Today, I found the treasure which can be, cut the root of samsara. And so that this view do not degenerate in other life, right? So, yes, this lifetime I can little bit understand emptiness. So I don't want to degenerate. I don't want to, forget this view. For the next life, after next life, continuously, I want to have the view, which is emptiness. Then what he or she need to do, they will do so by reflecting. If due to moral degeneration, I were to feel into the lower realms, the continuity of the view of emptiness will be broken, right? Like exactly today we, everybody, we feel very fortunate. In next lifetime, if we born as a, let's say, animal, loriums, hungry ghosts, animal, there's no, any opportunity to think about emptiness. Therefore, adopting perfect morality, they will always abide by it. Does it mean? Therefore, next time I want to take a, good rebirth. I want to born as a good human. Therefore, I need to practice, I need to adopt the morality, and I maintain my like Shila, like a morality. They will do so by reflecting, if due to the moral degeneration I were fell into lower realms, the continuity of the view of emptiness will be broken. Thus, they will adopt moral discipline and guard it without degeneration. Becoming morally degenerate do not require first adopting a moral code. Even committing those acts that are naturally reprehensible, which are contrary to the virtues, constitute moral degeneration. In order to like a moral generate, you no need to take the vows at the beginning. For example, you have vow or not when you killed living being, that means you degenerate, you are degenerate, you are moral, right? If you have taken the vows, of course, then you degenerate your vows. Even though you haven't taken any vows, you killed, any living being, then you yourself degenerate, you are moral. Then second one, practicing the generosity, right? They will further reflect, even if because of observing morality, I am born in the higher realms, I may become a poor and benefit for the condition for sustenance, such as food, drink, medicine, and clothing, and devoted to the seeking this, that the continue to my hearing the view of emptiness and meditating on it, meaning will be broken. Therefore, second, then you think, yes, if I practice morality very purely, I can be born as a good living being, like a human, a celestial being. If I don't have all the necessary kind of condition in the daily life, next life, then I won't have opportunity to view the emptiness or meditate on emptiness, because then next life I will be very busy to looking or searching food and clothes and medicine. Therefore, second, that the person will be very serious about practicing generosity. Thus, as explained before, they will practice generosity in relation to the higher and lower field. This word I thought very important. Generosity in relation to the higher and lower field. Means usually when we do, we are very happy to do, spend our resources, like offering light, offering mandala, offering flower, incense to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. But we are not so, ready to give your things to the lower field, mean like sentient beings, like a hungry being, this thing. So therefore, what Shantideva said, the Buddha and sentient being is equal field to accumulate merit. Why we, differentiate, why we discriminate. When you offer a light to Buddha, you can accumulate merit. Same time, you just spend, $1 to the person who needs it, also you're going to accumulate merit. You should not think, the Buddha feel are most important than the sentient beings. So we can accumulate merit through practice and generosity to the higher, relies on the higher, also relies on the lower field. Reflecting, it is the view of emptiness sustained by great compassion that will lead to the Buddhahood, and not otherwise. They will cultivate the habits for great compassion, which is the root. Then yes, you think, yes, I can, if I practice purely morality, I can be a good human. Plus, if I practice generosity, then I can have all the necessary facility for next life. But if I don't practice great compassion, then I cannot be Buddha. Reflecting the view of emptiness sustained by great compassion that will lead to Buddhahood and not otherwise. They will cultivate the habits for great compassion, which is the root, right? Root. The third, the person, the practitioner like us, we have to be very serious about practicing great compassion. Because great compassion is the root to cultivate bodhicitta. Then the bodhicitta is the root, one of the root to be Buddha. Cultivate the habits of great compassion, which is the root. Reflecting through the anger once goes to the lower realms, destroy one virtues and the occur an extremely unfailing continence. And because of this, the Arya will not be pleased. They will practice forbearance. Yes, I can be a human. I can have all the necessary facilities. Yes, I can practice great compassion. If I has a very ugly feature, right? You can see very wealthy. The person is very healthy, but physically the person looks very ugly. If the person is look very ugly, then the Arya not pleased about the feature. The Arya will not be pleased. They will practice forbearance. Given the morality and so on, they are not dedicated repeatedly to the Buddha's omniscience, do not become the cause for Buddhahood. And then the fourth, what they need to practice the dedication. They need to dedicate. Given that morality and so on, they are not dedicated, so on that are not dedicated repeatedly to Buddha's omniscience, do not become the cause for Buddhahood. And that uninterrupted continuity of the fruit in the form of embodiment and material resources will fail to emerge. And then every day the practitioner must dedicate the merit repeatedly for the achieving omniscience. Otherwise, if we don't dedicate, if we don't do the dedication, then the anger can destroy the merit, or the merit can, rest just one time fruits, cannot continuously give the fruits. Right? Here now, the point is meant here, when we realizing emptiness is very important. Somehow you feel, I need to realize emptiness, or due to your effort, you realize emptiness. Then what you need to do? Then you are very worried, in the future, I won't have an opportunity to view emptiness. In the future life, I won't have an opportunity to meditate on emptiness. The second, what you need to do, you need to practice, pure moral, practice the morality. Because when you, but the precious garland, right, by Nagarjuna, he said, Shimbe Longche, generosity bring wealth. Tim like a morality give you, like a fortunate life. Forbearance brings, like give rise or like the beautiful features. It's same. Therefore, practice morality. You can be born as a fortunate being. Then practice generosity. Then you can have all the necessary condition, facilities. Then practice great compassion. Then all your practices can be caused to achieve Buddhahood. Also, need to practice forbearance in order to have the beautiful future. So, if you are the right person, listening the teaching on emptiness, then immediately you must have this kind of thoughts. I need to practice, these 5 of them: morality, generosity, forbearance, great compassion, the dedication. Therefore, usually, we always talk about, at the end, we do dedication. Also, in your daily life, in the evening, after you've done your daily practice, you do dedication, right? But many of Buddhists, they really don't know how to dedicate. Sometimes whatever they accumulate merit, they just dedicate for having, good wealth. They dedicate for have a long life. They dedicate for, have a good family. They dedicate for, success their achievement. As a Buddhist, particularly as a Mahayana Buddhist, all our dedication, we must dedicate for achieving Buddhahood. Achieving Buddhahood. If you dedicate your merit for simple things, that means you are using the important, expensive pot as a rubbish bin, right? Then many people thought, actually, I want to have a long life. If I dedicate merit for achieving Buddhahood, I cannot live long life. No. When you dedicate, merit for achieving Buddhahood, at the same time you are dedicating the merit, at the same time you are accumulating a lot of merit. Look like, you deposit, you do the fixed deposit, you are cash in your bank. So the cash is there. Every day you are accumulating the interest. Then still the money is there. The interest is, keep coming in your account. It's same way, when you do dedication, you are dedicating the merit which you accumulate. At the same time, also you are accumulating merit due to dedication. Then if you have a very particular kind of, need to do particular dedication, you can say, I'm going to dedicate the merit for achieving Buddhahood to benefit all sentient beings. Then particularly, my friends, my family, my relatives. Also, you can say, I'm going to dedicate my merit to benefit all sentient beings first. Then second, particularly, or in order to have my healthy and, my life more longer, or I can have a healthy life. But mostly we do opposite. Only focus for your healthy, focus your wealth, focus your family. We have to do otherwise, another way around. Dedicate for becoming Buddha, then particularly you can dedicate whatever you want. These are the quality you can have when you really have a good understanding of emptiness. Now the new topic is identifying the object of negation. And between there's a lot of quotation. You can read by yourself. Page number 171. Identifying the object of negation. So this line also, you say identifying the object of negation, right? So when we think about like this book, like you just imagine this book. Look at the book. it look like it's just one book, but it look like there's two types of book. One based on our own conception. One is the actual book. One book is there because based on our own thoughts. The one book is there based on our own concept. It is not there. Then the second, there's a book which is the real book. But we confuse which one is based on our own conception, which is the actual book. Clear? Therefore, all phenomena has a same thing. One based on our conceptual thoughts, we establish the thing. Then the thing has their own reality. Therefore, we need to separate. Oh, this is based on my own thoughts. This is based on my own concept. But the book which is based on my conception is not there. The reality book is there, but we haven't realized it. Right? That means all phenomena has a look like. I say look like. There's a two kinds of phenomena. One based on our own concept. One is the real phenomena. For us, we totally, confuse these two phenomena. One is our own concept, based on our concept. One is the actual phenomena, like a book. Right? Therefore, so we need to negate the phenomena established based on our own concept. So we need to negate. We need to negate. When we negate the phenomena based on our concept, then we're going to realize the actual phenomena. For example, this day, like many, I think all over the world, even though like many, the people who live in the like a village or who doesn't have enough money to buy iPhone, what they do, they take a photo of the iPhone, and the photo they put as a screenshot, screen, right? They turn back, look like they're talking to someone. What the other people can see, they can see the screen. The screen they set as a iPhone. Then the other people, when he or she's looking, the person he or she's look like he or she's using iPhone, right? So the person mistaking the picture of iPhone, the actual iPhone. This is the many people do, take a good picture of the iPhone.
Okay.
The iPhone, they put as a screen, right? But the screenshot, right? Not screenshot, they call what? Screen. When you on your phone, what you can see the screen. Other people thought, oh, he or she is using an iPhone.
Yeah, this is a good example.
Right? Therefore, the person mistaking the actual phone and the image of the phone.
Okay.
Right? This is the example. Therefore, for us, until today, why we are in samsara, until today, why we have a lot of negative thoughts, particularly anger, hatred, attachment, because our minds, we're always clinging on our own, the phenomena based on our own perception, right? So when you really remove the part of the phenomena, which is our own conception, our concept, then we can see other types of phenomena. When we see the actual type of actual phenomena, then there's no anger, no attachment, nothing, because we can see the actual truth. For example, many people like to eat what you call the soy sauce, hot dog, right? The sauce, soy sauce, right? Soy sauce. Like yeah. I think in the past,
Particular, do you mean sausage?
huh?
Do you mean sausage?
Soy sauce, right? Like yeah,
Sausage.
yeah. In US, they call it hot dog, right?
Yes. Yeah. Hot dog or sausage.
Huh?
Sausage.
Sausage, right? Even though when I was in US, because we we went to many states, we always like to eat this like sausage. One day somebody make a video how they produce things since there's no attachment, no desire, don't know that all the clinging, all the what do you call the craving has gone. But because we saw the actual sausage, right? Sausage. So we have to, when we realize emptiness, we will have this kind of experience. How come, just forget about the past life, how come since is I think sometimes not easy to overcome, even though the person realizes based on my thoughts. Even though when they realize it's due to my own thoughts, the person not ready to, give up the things. Because the person has a strong craving or strong attachment in the deep down. Therefore, so realizing emptiness means identifying the object negation means we need to identify the object, the phenomena which is established based on our own thoughts. Right? For example, can you see there's this day because we are in the internet kind of century, everywhere internet. So somebody offer like a $100 to the dog. The dog doesn't care. Then the person feeds small piece of meat. The dog is very happy. Why? Because the dog doesn't have any idea. He didn't know anything about money. Right? The dog doesn't care. So if somebody show you a small piece of meat at $100, which one we want? We say, oh, we want $100, right? And then because we have the concept. Identify the object of negation. So this is very, very, very important. Identifying the object which is we need to negate. Otherwise, look like there's two types of book. One is the real book. One is based on our own conception. So when we try to negate the object of negation, then we're going to negate the books, actual books. It's a serious mistake, right? So when we try to establish the actual book, which is the real book, at the same time, we are establishing the book based on our conception. So because we cannot make separate the actual book and the book based on our own thoughts. Therefore, identify the object of negation. The way the suggestness of dependent origination is expounded, this has three sections. Section number 1, how this is presented in the perfection scriptures. How the meaning of scripture is established by reasons. And enumeration of emptiness that is established in the conclusions. The first line, they say, how this is, mean the emptiness, is presented in the perfect wisdom. even though you can see when we read the Heart Sutra, we can see the Heart Sutra, presenting the emptiness. Now, how the meaning of, yes, the perfection wisdom include Heart Sutra, they explain emptiness, the meaning of emptiness, but the meaning of scripture is established by reason, right? Yes, it explains in the Heart Sutra, explained in the perfection wisdom, but the meaning must be established through reasoning, right? Therefore, it's simple what Lama Tsongkhapa was saying. Yes, emptiness is taught into, explained in the Heart Sutra, or explained in the perfection scripture, but we really need to know the emptiness through reasonings and logic. We just simply cannot rely on the text. We cannot trust only the words. We need to know the meaning through logics and reasonings. Therefore, second is saying here, how the meaning of scripture is established by reason. Then the enumeration of the emptiness, the three parts, right? Then how this presented in the perfection scripture. The first has two parts. Two parts, right? A citation showing how it was taught in the scripture and identifying the force opposing the understanding of suchness. Here's the 10 ground sutra state. That means how the emptiness is explained, present in the perfection wisdom. Now related to the 10 bhumi ground, when the Bodhisattva on the 5th ground enters to the 6th ground, he does so by means of the 10 perfect equanimities with respect to the phenomena. What are these 10s? So the Bodhisattva on the 5th ground enters the 6th ground. How he or she enters in the 6th ground, he does so by means of the 10 perfection. That means he practiced, he meditated on the 10 perfect equanimity, then he entered into the 6th ground. What are these 10? So I asked in the past, everybody must memorize what are the 10. Please everybody read all the 10s. Number 1,
Perfect.
equanimity of all phenomena in their absence of signs. Number 2, defining characteristics. Number 3, birth. 4, 5, void. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So everybody must remember the 10 equanimities. That means all the 10s are equal. Therefore, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just you count one by one. 7. Then 8, all of them, so number 9, all of them goes together. Number 9, the perfect equanimity of all phenomena in their resemblance to illusion, to dream, to mirage, to echoes, to reflection on the moon in the water, to mirror image, and to conjunction. These are together. Then 10, there's a two parts. Perfect equanimity of all phenomena in the absence of the duality of the real and unreal is put together. That means totally 10. Right? Number 9, all the way 10 is just count 1. The rest of the 1 by 1. 10. Among the 10, the first 2 is the most kind of, the first thing, the perfect equanimity of all phenomena in their absence of signs. Number 2, the perfect equanimity of all phenomena in their absence of defining characteristic. These 2 are the general statement. Then rest of them is more precise about the first 2. Then page number 172 indicate that the phrase, the perfect equanimity of all phenomena must be extended up to, so you have to add the same way. The perfect equanimity of all phenomena must be extended up to, in the absence of affirmation and the rejection. And these 2, all put together. Then that's how they try to recognize all the 10s. Then the second paragraph, the 10 perfection equanimities, the first in that all phenomena are equal insofar as all this appearance of the diverse signs do not exist from the perspective of the Arya meditative equipoise. The second is equanimity of all phenomena insofar as are all devoid existent by virtues of their intrinsic characteristic. These 2 represent the general presentation. Among the 10, the first 2 is the general presentation. The rest of the 8 is the more precise about the first 2. Phenomena are equally insofar as all this appearance of the diverse signs do not exist from the perspective of Arya meditative equipoise. That means, what does mean? Perfect equanimity of all phenomena in their absence of signs. Right? When we look at through our eyes, we can see that things are totally different. Different color, different shape, different size, different function, right? Also, when we think about our 6th mind, also we can think, this phenomena is big, that phenomena is small, this phenomena is very beautiful, that's ugly. We have a different kinds of, ideas, different kinds of perception. When we meditate on emptiness, based on realizing emptiness, when we really meditate on emptiness, and that moment, there's no different signs. All phenomena, we can see all phenomena has a same nature. Right? Same nature. The example I told you last week, when you look at on the land, on the ground, we can see different phenomena, right? Different phenomena, different size, different color, different shape, different function, different price. We can see all many different types. When you look at the sky, you can see eastern part of sky, western part of sky, south, north, middle. You cannot see different like the sky. Can you? Cannot. Therefore, you are looking at the east, eastern sky, western sky, you don't have a different concept. Therefore, when you look in the eastern sky, you don't have an attachment. On the west, also no attachment. Because for you, just you can see the empty, the sky, the empty space. And it's a total empty of the object. So when we meditate on emptiness, we need to, after we negating the negation, what we can see the actual reality of the phenomena. From that point of view, all phenomena are totally equal. One phenomena cannot really, project, attachment. Other phenomena cannot project the anger. It's equal. This is the point. After realizing emptiness, then we can control all the different types of negative thoughts. Otherwise, you control anger, attachment arising. You control attachment, anger arising. It looks like, you are applying different antidotes according to the different, like a sickness. Therefore, practicing compassion is really good for controlling anger, not attachment. Ugliness, essenceless, and meditating on ugliness or meditating on essenceless is really good for controlling your attachment, not anger, right? Then meditating on emptiness is good for reducing all the negative thoughts. Therefore, you can see among the meditation, meditation on emptiness is the best. Because Buddha, what Nagarjuna said. So the antidote which is taught to reduce anger, the antidote cannot reduce attachment. The antidotes which is taught by Buddha to reduce attachment cannot control the anger. Right? So the antidote which is taught by Buddha to control ignorance can be antidote for rest of all the negative thoughts. I mean, meditating emptiness is the kind of the best meditation to control all the negative thoughts. Look like when you always looking on the ground, yes, you can feel attachment, you can see anger, you can arouse all kinds of negative thoughts. When you look at the sky, that you can just think, just doesn't look like there's nothing. Look like nothing. But here different is, emptiness is not mean nothingness. Emptiness mean, when you realize emptiness mean, you negate the phenomena which is established by your own thoughts, then you realize the actual phenomena. This is identifying the object of negation. Then the perfection of equanimity of all phenomena in their absence of sign. What does mean? Means all phenomena are equal insofar as all this is appearance of diverse sign do not exist from the perspective of the Arya's meditative equipoise. The second is, what is the second one? The perfect equanimity of all phenomena in their absence of defining characteristic. The second is the equanimity of all phenomena insofar as they are all devoid of existence by virtues of their intrinsic characteristic. This true represent the general presentation, the remaining 8 present particular variation of the very truth that explained in the general. So now do you understand what does mean all phenomena are equal? On the first, perfect equanimity of all phenomena in their absence of signs. Understand? Means there's no different signs in perspective from the Arya's meditative equipoise. Mean when the Arya meditate on emptiness, he or she just can absorb only emptiness. Within this appearance, there's only just appearance, which is emptiness. It doesn't have any other sign. That's a big, small, size. Then what does mean the perfect equanimity of all phenomena, the absence of defining characteristic? Means the second is the equanimity of all phenomena insofar as they are all devoid of existent by virtues of their intrinsic characteristic. That means none of the phenomena has intrinsic nature. None of the phenomena doesn't have an intrinsic nature. Mean when you study any phenomena, you can find exactly the same, empty of inherent existence. Now, so today you can need to remember what are the 10, what are the two general presentation, how the rest of the 8, like a particular variation of the explanation. Now we just jump into page number 174. Page number 174. Identifying, grasping at the true existence, according to the Sautantika Madhyamaka standpoints. That means there are two schools. I think page number 173. Identifying the force opposing the understanding of suchness. In starting and the setting forth all phenomena as devoid from true existence. If one does not understand well what constitutes true existence and what constitutes grasping at the true existence, one view of emptiness will certainly go as rise, as terrace. Here, the guide to Bodhisattva starts. Without touching upon the imputed entity, the absence of his reality cannot be grasped. Right? Therefore, the first paragraph mentioned two things. If one does not understand well what constitutes true existence, if you really don't understand what does mean exactly the true existence, how the true existence is, established, constitute true existence, and what constitutes grasping at true existence. It has mentioned two things. One, we really need to understand. You need to know what does mean the true existence. Second, we need to know how the ignorance, grabs into true existence. We need to know these 2 points. What are the true? The constitute true existence. The number 2, the constitute grasping at the true existence. If we don't understand this true, then understanding emptiness can be mistake. Clear? What we need to know? We need to know 2 things. What are the 2 things? The constitute true existence. Number 2, Yeah, what constitute grasping at true existence? One view of emptiness will certainly goes astray. That means what Shantideva said, without touching upon the imputed entity and true existence is same. Okay, imputed entity and the true existence is same. That means if you don't touch or don't understand imputed entity, the absence of is really cannot be grasped. Thus, if the imputed entity, namely the generic concept of what is to be negated, does not appear clearly to one's mind, it is said that one will not be able to pinpoint the absence of object of negation. Therefore, if a clear sense of what is the opposite to existence, that which is the said not to exist, as well as what phenomena are understood to be empty of object to be negated, do not arise in one mind, it will be impossible to ascertain clearly the nature of absence of true existence, as well as the nature of the emptiness. Here, the simple one, what Lama Tsongkhapa is saying, in order to realize the unmistaken, the meaning of emptiness, you need to know the two things. Once, the constitute of true existence. I mean, actually, what does mean the true existence? Number one. Number two, we need to know the grasping, the ignorant grasps into the true existence. If we don't understand first this truth, then we're not going to understand emptiness. Thus, if the imputed entity, what does mean imputed? Namely, the generic concept of what is to be negated. So the object of negation is not there, right? Not there. That means I told you, it look like there's two books. Look like there's two. One is based on our own concept or conception. For us, we cannot differentiate the actual book and the book which is we inputted by our own conception. We don't understand there's two different types of book. Within these two books, one is the actual book, one is based on our own conception. Right? The book established based on our conception is look like there actually is no more there. It's not there. It's where in your mind. That's what generic. Generic means you believe the book is truly exist. You believe this book is truly existent phenomena. Therefore, you grasp the book is truly existent book. The truly existent book is just based on your mind. Therefore, it's like a generic concept. I mean, you create by your own mind. The true existent book is there. Is there because of your own thoughts, right? Own thought. Actually, based on your conception book is no there, is no exist. But we mistake the book which is established by our own thoughts, we thought is real book. Therefore, all the attachment, anger, all the negative thoughts arise. Clear? Generic concept of what is to be negated. So, therefore, negation means we need to negate. What we need to negate? We need to negate the book which is established by our own thoughts. Right? Own thoughts. Therefore, we need to negate the book which is inputted by our own thoughts. Simply with this way. One will not be able to pinpoint the absence of object of negation. If we're not able to pinpoint the absence of the object of negation, therefore, if clear sense of what is the purported to existence, that which is said not to exist, that means the inputted phenomena, the purported to existence, and not to existence, these are synonymous. As well as what phenomena are understood to be empty of the object of negated does not arise in our own mind, it would be impossible to ascertain clearly that the nature of absence of true existence as well as the nature of emptiness. Therefore, we need to know, we must have a clear understanding, the constitute of the true existence, then the grasping at the true existence. We must have a clear understanding this true. It is not enough to have identified true existence as postulated by the proponent of the philosophical tenets or their corresponding apprehension of the true existence. Also, according to different school, has a different, a different tenets about the object of negation. Here, according to different tenets, there's a different kind of, the meaning of object of negation is a different point of view according to different schools. It's very simple. For example, when you ask, like a Sri Lankan people, how's the monk look like? The Sri Lankan will describe, monk means, is no hair, they must wear the saffron color clothes. They say, therefore, from their point of view, monks. If you ask the Chinese people what monks look like, there's, the monk must wear the gray color, this. In Tibet, there's, the monks with no hair, wear the maroon color clothes. You can say different countries have a different idea about monk, right? Then, if you ask Buddha, what does mean monk? Buddha will explain, the monk means the person who has the vows. He never explained, based on the custom, right? Therefore, constitute of the true existence we must recognize according to Nagarjuna tradition. Also, in order to recognize, recognizing the grasping it into true existence also must recognize according to the Nagarjuna, not the, Sudanta school, Chidamantra school, Swadanta school. No, we must need to recognize according to the Chandrakirti or Nagarjuna. Monks mean person who has the vows. So here he says in Lama Tsongkhapa, it is not enough to have identified true existence as postulated by the proponent of philosophical tenets or their corresponding apprehension of the true existence. It is most essential, therefore, to have identified well the innate grasping at the true existence. Innate grasping at true existence. That means grasping, there's a two types. One is the innate, one is the not innate. You can say innate, or you can say, the innate grasping and the postulate grasping. as the true existence. Here, what we need to recognize the innate grasping. Innate grasping and innate grasping the true existence. The true existence must be, we need to recognize according to the Nagarjuna school, none of the other schools, which resides since beginning last time and is present both in those whose mind are tempted by the philosophical tenets, in those whose mind are not thus tempted. Then what does mean the innate grasping? Mean the grasping must be, persist since beginning last time and is presented by both in those whose mind are tempered by the philosophical tenets and is those whose minds are not thus tempered, as well as the purported to existence grasped by the such as innate mind. Here again, I will very simplify. Generally, there's two types of ignorance. One ignorance the person can have due to the different schools, due to the different tradition, right? That means the person don't follow any tradition, the person doesn't follow any tradition, the person doesn't have the ignorance based on the different tradition, right? That means two types. One is innate, one is based on the different schools. What does mean innate? Mean the ignorance, all sentient being has the ignorance. The ignorance which is possessed by all sentient being. The being, follow the tradition or not, no matter, all sentient being has the ignorance, mean is innate. Innate. How long the ignorance, belongs to the sentient beings? That means beginning last time until now. Means the ignorance is always there. You follow tradition, you don't follow tradition, you are Buddhist, you are non-Buddhist, all sentient being has the ignorance. Therefore, we need to recognize that the ignorance, which is grabs the true existence. The true existence also we need to recognize according to Nagarjuna tradition, not any other schools. I hope today understand that why it's so important to identify object of negation. If we don't identify object of negation, then there's no way we can realize the unmistaken emptiness. Right? Then what does mean identifying object of negation? That means we need to negate. Right? We need to negate the negation. Then what does mean negation? Then I said like a book. Simple, very simple way, book. Look like this book, there's two books. In the reality, there's just one book. For us, generally, they look like there's two books. These two books. One is based on our own perception, based on, established by our own thoughts. One is the actual book. For us, we need to negate the book which is established by our own thoughts. Right? This book is no exist. We need to realize the actual book. If we don't recognize, there's one book is the actual book, one book is based on my ignorance. If we don't recognize that that's true, then when we try to negate the negation, which is based on our conception, then we're going to negate the actual book mistake. Then when we try to realize try to establish the actual book. At the same time, we establish the book which is based on conception. Is also mistake. Then you need to feel very, carefully. We need to remove the book established by our own ignorance, which we can say, true existence. Mean the book which exists inherently. And also now many people feel, true existence means, there's a book. Then for us, there's a book. Then true existence book is something else. No. For us, I'm not saying the general. For us, the true existence books and book is same. For us, inherent existent book, then book for us same. Therefore, when we say the book is, the nature of the book is empty, means we thought, the Buddhas, Nagarjuna are saying there's nothing. Because for us, inherent existent books and book are same. We cannot differentiate. When we negate the inherent book, also we're going to negate the book. It's not the right way. Right? There's a true. It's not actually true. It looks like there's a true. Then today, I hope you're going to understand what does mean the innate ignorance. Mean all sentient beings possess the ignorance. The being follow the tradition or not. The person follow a particular tenets or not. The person, the sentient being has the ignorance is the innate. Therefore, we need to recognize the innate grasping at the true existence. First, we need to recognize the innate grasping. The innate grasping grabs at the true existence. Without identifying this, one might engage in the eliminating the object of negation through the reason, but this would not undermine whatsoever the clinging to the true existence. Therefore, if we're not able to recognize the innate ignorance, not able to recognize the self-grasping, doesn't matter how much we're trying to negate the negation, it would not undermine whatsoever the clinging on the true existence that persists since beginning last time, and thus miss the entire point purpose at hand. Now, to do this, we must first identify the grasping at the true existence that lies with our own mind and understand how the virtues Madhyamaka reasoning function directly, indirectly to eradicate its object. Right? First, Lama Tsongkhapa said, first step, we need to recognize the innate ignorance. Second, particularly, we need to recognize our own innate ignorance. Right? Otherwise, otherwise we miss the entire purpose. Now, to do this, we must first identify the grasping at the true existence that lies within our own mind and understand how the virtues, how the various Madhyamakas reasoning function directly, indirectly to eradicate our own ignorance. Its object, negation and affirmation that are the directed solely the outward will have a same benefit. So this is a very important, I think, very, very important advice by Lama Tsongkhapa. Therefore, usually what we do, when we do, practice compassion. We practice compassion the rest of the sentient being, not our own enemy. Also, we are missing the purpose. When we practice compassion, we must cultivate compassion all sentient being, particularly the person which you consider your enemy. Right? Also, in order to realize emptiness, we need to recognize two things. First, the constitute of the true existence. Number two, we need to recognize the grasping at the true existence. Clear? If we don't recognize object of negation, then we're not going to realize the actual emptiness. Second, what types of ignorance or grasping, self-grasping we need to recognize? We need to recognize the innate grasping. Innate means there's another ignorance, grasping which is not innate. Other ignorance or grasping arise based on the different tradition, different schools. For example, the Hinduism believe into permanent soul, permanent consciousness. Yes, they strongly believe. The believing they have based on their tradition. Yes, also you can say Chitta Mantra, Tasvatantika, they also have they establish ignorance according to their own tradition. These are also not actual the ignorance. Therefore, we need to recognize the innate ignorance which is possessed by all sentient beings. So since beginning last time until now, particularly we need to recognize our own innate ignorance. Also, we need to realize how our own innate ignorance grabs into the true existence. Clear? Okay, so today, so for you as a homework for until next Saturday, first, you need to remember what are the all good quality can be arise based on understand, based on realizing emptiness is so important, and practicing morality, practicing generosity, forbearance, great compassion, dedication. This point. Then we need to know what are the 10 equanimities. Among the 10, what are the true general presentation? Then need to know what does mean equanimity of, the first, need to know the meaning of the first equanimities, first two equanimities. Then need to know why it is so important to identify the object of negation. Why it is so important to recognize the innate ignorance, not the imputed ignorance. Particularly need to recognize our own innate ignorance. Also, we need to recognize, we need to identify how the innate ignorance grabs into the true existence. Now look at everything we need to look inward, not look outward. Clear outward. So simply just you just look at the phenomena around you, just even though like flower, or you just first look at how the flower exists. What does mean the flower? Right? So when you closely study a very particular phenomena, then you can, someday you think there's no flower. When you analyze, like part by part, piece by piece, look like there's no flower. Then you will think, oh, it is impossible. I can say it's not the right idea to say there's no flower. There's been no flower, no people, no country is no good. Then you thought there must be something there. Then you do, then you try to establish the flower. Then finally, if you're able to establish the flower merely designation, that's merely designation, designated by your own thoughts, mean that you are close to your mind is close to emptiness. Therefore, we should not say the flower is flower. This book is book. We must say this object, not particular object, this object is a book, right? This object is a book. Without naming the book, the object must be there, right? Must be there. Then the particular object become a book. How the object become a book? How the object become flower? How this land, the land, I say land, the piece of land become Singapore. Without naming Singapore, the land was there. Just a piece of land. Then somehow, somebody came, exists, they name, they give a name to the land Singapore. Before naming, the land was there. Before naming this phenomena, before naming the book, the phenomena is there. Then when we say book, like people, things, it's just inputted by own thoughts, right? Therefore, you just look closely at one phenomena, do a lot of analytical meditation, analyze. Then someday you feel there's no phenomena. Someday you feel, no, the phenomena must be there as independent. When you believe the phenomena is there as independent, also you do analyze. Then you can realize there's no independent phenomena, mean the phenomena is empty of independent existence. This means you're analyzing, you're studying based on your own experience. You're not just saying, oh, this is ignorant because say by Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti. If we always just, believe, oh, it's because Nagarjuna says, Chandrakirti says so, Buddha says so, mean we're not going to have a very strong kind of standard conviction, whatever we believe. Right? Therefore, it's 4:30. We can stop here. I think talking too much is no point. If there are any question, yes, please.
That means what you say is everything is separated into the actual and what we input. So when we look at anything, we have to think about it like that.
Yeah, correct. Actually, we should not say before we input it, the actual thing is there. There's no such an actual thing. Therefore, look at things are there. The sun is there. The sun is producing heat. The moon is there. The moon produces like a cooling things. Right? This function is there. The sun is hot. The fire is hot. This is due to different conditions. Something become hot. Then we name fire. Fire. Then things are there. Things are there because of the dependent origination, dependent on many causes, condition. Things are there. One day things going to disappear due to condition. But we are the being who establish this is this, that is that.
So once we can do that.
Yeah. Therefore, due to we forgotten, we never recognize things. The thing become a book. Something become this because of my own perception, right? Own perception. Okay, is there any question from the Zoom side?
Currently, no, not yet. Maybe they need some time to think about their question first.
Okay, you can think until next Sunday. They bring the question. Okay, so if there's no question at the end, I will, repeat again and again. I think I feel very important, but it's important or not. You need to think, you need to finalize. Any kinds of, teaching when you listen, which is taught by Buddha, Buddha always says, need to recognize the cause and condition. If you always want to achieve happiness, also you need to focus the cause and condition, which is Buddha's happiness. If you don't want suffering, Buddha always taught us, you need to think about the causes and condition of the suffering. We thought, minimize the causes of condition of suffering. We cannot minimize the suffering. We thought develop the cause and condition to generating happiness. We cannot achieve happiness. Therefore, any kind of teaching taught by Buddha, he always talk about cause and effect and cost. Therefore, all we Buddhists, we always wish to achieve Buddha. We always wish to be Buddha. So we have a very strong kind of, motivation. One day we can be Buddha, which is very good. But if we really, if you are very serious, if we are serious about one day we can be Buddha, then we have to be very serious about our practice. Then, how I should practice Dharma? What does it mean practicing? Because many different masters say, okay, taught different practice. Also, they taught different practice, they have a reason. Many masters, you just do, millions times of prostration, then one day you can be Buddha. It's true. But the master never said only prostration. Doing, 100 times or million times of prostration, only this, he or she never said you can be Buddha. He or she said, you do millions times, prostration, one day you can be Buddha. He never said you can be Buddha only the prostration, right? Also, many of you have been doing Wonro, which is very good. Also, we not only just, focus on the Wonro, you can, in the morning, you can do Wonro, doing prostration, making offering, mandal offering, reciting, 100 syllable mantra. Morning, you can do, your Wonro. The afternoon or evening, you can more focus your actual practice. Also, morning, you can do your actual practice, or evening, also, you can focus on the Wonro. We should not think the Wonro and the pre-practice and actual practice separate. Within one day, you can do the pre-practice and actual practice. If we only, spend our time with the pre-practice of Wonro, then we never know next life we can be born as a human or not. Therefore, it is so important to be, pure practitioner. Also, it's so important to practice the pure Dharma. What does mean pure Dharma mean? Your practice, you can feel, my practice is really reducing, my anger, attachment, ego, pride. That means you are doing the perfect and pure practice. You have been practicing the Dharma for many, many years. You cannot feel your anger going down. Your compassion, generate. That means I'm not saying that teaching is wrong. I'm not saying the practice is wrong. Your way of practicing is something wrong. Either you're not serious about your practice, or you're not able to practice the Dharma according to, according to the perfect antidotes. For example, you're very angry with your neighbor. You always cultivate compassion towards your friends. Then the practicing compassion never be antidotes. You reduce anger towards your neighbors. That means you can see you are angry with your neighbors. You are cultivating compassion to your friends for reducing the anger towards your enemy. It doesn't make sense, right? You cannot see the point. Therefore, either you are not serious about your practice, or either maybe you are not doing the proper way of practicing. Therefore, make sure practice pure Dharma. More serious about your practice. And also, we should not only spend your time with all the recitation, chanting, or ngondo. We must do recitation. We must do chanting. We must do the prostration. We must do all the Lord offering, whatever. It's good, but those are not the actual practice. I told you at the beginning, right? For example, you really want to realize emptiness. You have been putting a lot of effort, but your mind is not close to emptiness. Then in between, you do all the recitation, chanting, focusing to realizing emptiness. For example, Manjushri advice to Lama Tsongkhapa, you need to do 3 practices together. Visualize oneness of your Guru and Yidam, and do purification, accumulating merit together. Meaning he was doing prostration, and while resting, doing mandal offering. After he was good resting, he was doing prostration. So we also must do 3 things together. Then many people, and I know many of you say, oh, I don't have a particular guru. You no need to worry. You just think Buddha Shakyamuni is my guru. Right? Whatever you are receiving, teaching from your root guru, you can think, yeah, Buddha Shakyamuni and my guru is oneness. Therefore, we need to know the point, the main point, why we need to do all the research chanting, right? So this is the kind of, again, repetition. Right? So no question, then we do dedication.